Hey everybody, we're back with how to set up your new WordPress site. Hopefully by now you have set up the most important parts of Jetpack and you've set up Akismet. So no comment spam, and you'll have sharing and publicizing and everything to social media. You should have a new handy dandy new site icon, and the other pieces of Jetpack will show themselves as we move through. But one of the things I want to make sure that we do is go through all of the different settings that you need to have before you start publishing. Because there's one thing in particular that if you start to use use the site before you change this, you will cause a lot of problems. So let's go through our settings. The first thing we actually did was we went through settings general. But just to remind you that we did that, let's just look at the page. Remember, it had our site title and tagline, and our email address, and time and date, and all of that. Okay, so we did that. Next, we're going to click on writing. So default post category. Well, right now you don't have a category at all because we haven't gotten to that yet. So this is a good time to say, make a little note to yourself that you want to make sure you figure out what your categories are going to be. You should not have too many categories. I like to say rule of thumb is no more than 6, preferably 3 or 4. And think really hard about how you would break those up. Make sure that your categories make sense to people. I worked with a blog once who, instead of saying my kids, said my puppies. And I thought that her site was really about puppies, and it turned out that she just thought of her kids as puppies. But if anybody else had gone to the site, they would have thought the same thing. So it's really important for you to not try and be too witty. Just be witty enough and make it clear so that people can use your site. They don't want to get confused when they get there. And when that happens, come back and pick a default post category. You don't want anything ever to accidentally wind up in uncategorized. You want to be able to say, at least everything should fall under the heading of family, or at least everything should fall under the heading, for me, of WordPress. So default post format. Don't worry about this. Standard is correct, and you are not, unless you're doing a photography blog or something like that. If you're doing a photography blog, then it would be video, or you're doing image. If you're doing, vlogging, it would be video. But most of you are going to just be doing regular posts, and that would be standard. Okay, so right now, don't worry about this either. This is if you're going to actually email posts to WordPress, and that is pretty specific. And if you're going to do that, you will know what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, so we're not going to worry about anything else right now for this. Next, we're going to go to reading. Okay, in reading, right now you're going to have your latest posts. If there comes a time where you want to have a front page that's different from the page that all your blog posts are on, you will be choosing this item here, a static page, and then it will give you choices of pages to choose from. You will actually have to create a page called home, and you will have to create a page called blog posts, and you will select those here. And we can do a tutorial about how to create a static front page at another time. Right now, you will be choosing your latest posts. Blog pages show at most 10 posts. So depending on what you decide, 10 posts is great. As you look at your posts, you might decide that you want to do it differently, and then you can change those numbers. For each article in a feed, show. Now here's where I don't go with the default. I believe that each article should show a summary. The reason being that more people can see more of your content right off the bat and then make the decision to read the rest of that post and click through. But right now, if you show them a full text, they can read the whole post without ever leaving the page, and that's not good for your bounce rate. And bounce rate is something that Google likes to pay attention to. So we want to give them a reason to click, and the best way to do that is to just give them a little excerpt of your post and make them click to see the rest. Now, this should not be checked, search engine visibility. Make sure that's not checked unless you're still on a test site. On a test site, that would be checked. And here's related posts. And you know why you have this? Because you activated Jetpack. If you are missing this, you have not activated your Jetpack yet. So go back to my previous video and activate Jetpack. Now you have this here. It says show a related header to more clearly separate the related sections from posts. So that's this. This is the related header. It says related. You want that. But the other thing that you want is use a large and visually striking layout. So it will take your beautiful featured images that you'll be using and it will put it on top of the link to your post. And then what it will do is it will choose posts that are in the same category or tagged the same, or even just have similar content if you haven't used categories or tags well. It will do its best to find related content for you. Follower settings. I don't change this. You totally can. If somebody decides to follow your email, follow you through email, or through a comment, wants to follow the comments, then you can change the text. I just leave it. But we did make some changes, right? So we have to click Save Changes. The next thing that we're going to look at is Settings Discussion. Now this is all about your comments. Now you have activated a Kismet as well, right? That was what we covered in our first video. So assuming that you have activated a Kismet, you do not have to worry about comment spam. I promise you. So here's the thing, default article settings, attempt to notify any blogs linked to from the article. Yes, that's a pingback. Pingbacks are something that are nice to do. So if we link to another site, it will send a little ping saying this site has linked. And here's the same thing going the other direction. We want that. And allow people to post comments on new articles. We want that too. You don't have to worry about that now because you have the spam. Comment author must fill out name and email. Absolutely. Do not take comments where they don't have to fill that out. But users must be registered. We don't do that. Automatically close comments. We don't do that either. Unless you're getting millions of comments, I would not do that. Enable threaded nested comments. That means like let people talk back and forth to each other throughout the comments. I allow that. This, we don't break up comments into pages because, well, I haven't had that many comments yet. So email me whenever anyone posts a comment or a comment is held for moderation. Absolutely. Comment must be manually approved. I would not do that. As I said, you have a Kismet. If you're worried that people are going to comment and you're not going to like their comments, you can click that box. Comment author must have a previously approved comment. I leave that unchecked, but a lot of my sites like to have that checked. That's up to you. I'm not very good at moderating my comments, so I uncheck that because I'm afraid that I might go a week without checking to see if someone commented, and I can't manually approve every comment. So here's a place where you can actually choose specific names or URLs, different things that you think should be held in for moderation. You can put some stuff in here. You can this is blacklisted. This goes to moderation. So if you know that whenever somebody from this IP address or this URL or this name comments, it will go directly into the trash. So say your crazy ex-boyfriend likes to comment on your site, well, guess what? Stick his email in there and it will go completely to the trash. Okay, so here is where we choose avatars. This isn't really anything you need to change. Just leave all the settings how they are, and you really do want the suitable for all audiences. I mean, you just don't know what it means if you say no to that, you know? So what I do though is I like to choose, like if somebody doesn't have an avatar, I like to pick one of these things like Monster ID or Waveatar or something so that the pictures are fun. Okay, so now this is another thing you would not have if you didn't have Jetpack. This is Jetpack subscription settings. So this says show a follow blog option in the comment form. Absolutely. I want people to follow me, and here I'm giving them one more way. Follow comments is another way that maybe they don't want to follow your whole blog, but they want to know what other people have to say. They want to know if you respond to a comment. So a show a follow comments option in the comment form. The next one is adjust your comment form with a clever greeting and color scheme. So you actually can change that a little bit. Instead of leave a reply, how about, let's be like Fraser Crane, I'm listening. Or what do you have to say, or anything you want. And that's going to show up where your comments are. And you can actually change your comment color scheme here too. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Once again, save changes. Now we're getting somewhere, all right? I promise you we're getting somewhere important soon. So, media. You're really not going to change anything here, but you should see what it says. So this automatically crops your sizes. If there's a reason why you want your sizes to be different and you know what those reasons are, then this is where you would change them. Otherwise, you would just leave the settings as they are. Permalinks. This is important. Don't skip this part. Used to be everybody wanted the month and the name, or the day and the name, whatever it was, they wanted the date in their posts. The new thing now is to not have dates in your posts at all. But because it's not across the board, WordPress is still defaulting to month and name. I suggest you choose just post name. The reason why I say that is a lot of people want their posts to be evergreen. So I wrote a post about if you should pick WordPress.com versus WordPress.org 2 years ago. And back then, my permalink structure had the date in it. Now, when I post it, it will always have the date in it. And people will be like, ah, that post is 2 years old. I don't want them to think that. So I wish that I had chosen this before. You cannot change your permalinks once you have started writing. If you change your permalinks, you will break all of your posts. Do not change your permalinks. I repeat, do not change them after you have started posting on your site. So that's why this is so important to do before we start posting. Change your permalinks to post name. And here's some optional things you don't need to worry about. We're going to save changes. Now here's something really great that comes with WordPress now, and it didn't used to. It's this awesome plugin is now built into Jetpack. You used to have to sign up for it, called Limit Login Attempts. This will lock somebody out after they have attempted to log in incorrectly. So one of the things that you can change is how often they're allowed to retry. So here it says 1 allowed retry, how many minutes they're locked out. Lockouts increase time to lockout. So if you get locked out once, then the next time you're locked out is a certain amount of times. We can talk about that later. You can leave me comments about it if you want your opinions. I have had no problem with limit login attempts with the standard setup, so I'm not going to change it. Now you can set it to email you, but you know what? It'll just make you crazy when you realize how many people are trying to log into your account. Trust me, just leave it alone. The next thing we're going to look at is sharing, but if you watched our Jetpack video, you already know how to do this. And if you skip that, just make sure you connect all the profiles that you want connected and make sure you drag your sharing buttons in the order that you want them to be. And you choose the view that you want to see of your buttons and click save just in case. Okay, so those are the basic things that you need to do to make sure that your site is running and that you are using all the correct settings to get started blogging. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.